lesson today is on writing inequalities. Our essential question, and it's not really a question, it's a statement. It says, explain what you need to look for in a problem when writing an inequality. So if you'll please set up your notes. As you go through your video notes today, please feel free to pause it at any time. And if you're in class, then you can ask a question, anything that comes up. Or if you're at home, write down your notes and we can talk about it later. Before we look at the word problems that I gave you, I want to talk about a few words. One is, and these are two words, at least. We see the word at least and we get a little confused on what that means. At least means that number or that amount or more. Okay, if I say you have to be at least 16 years old to go to a rated R movie, that means you have to be 16 years old or greater. So this would be greater than or equal to. We also have the words at most. Okay, at most it means that amount or less. So that's less than or equal to. Okay, she's at most 12 years old. She's 12 years old or younger, so it's less than or equal to. And then two other words that I thought were important that maybe aren't real clear are minimum and maximum. Okay, so when we talk about minimum, the minimum number that it can be, the lowest number it can be, so that means that's going to be greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, it can be that number or more. Maximum means it can't be any more than that number, so less than or equal to. So those are just a few special words that you just might want to make note of. Okay, let's look at the first example on your notes, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here so you can see. You're obviously going to glue these into your notebook if you want to cut them out or however you want to do it. We are going to write, for these first three problems, we're going to write and solve a one variable inequality. So we're only going to use one variable. And really important that we need to do, that we've already done with equations, is I want us to make sure that we're defining our variable. So take a minute, pause the video, and read the following problem to yourself. We're going to call our variable, and I'm just going to use X. You can use any variable you want. It says, how many tickets do they need to sell? Usually, when we're defining our variable or our unknown, what it is there in the question. It's usually what we're looking for. So X here is going to be the number of tickets. Okay. Something else we need to pay attention to is it says we want to raise at least $1,500. Okay, so at least means we want to raise greater than or equal to $1,500. Whatever the amount that we make, we want it to be greater than or equal to $1,500. It says tickets are $5 each. That's important information right there. Well, if each ticket is $5, 5 times X. There's nothing else involved with this problem. It's a basic, easy problem. So now all we have to do to solve it is divide by 5. And if you do that division, you should get X is greater than or equal to 300. Now, this is a word problem, so we need to make sure we understand what that means in context of the problem. So this solution is telling us that the drama club, and remember we should write our solutions in a sentence, the drama club must sell 300 or more tickets to make a profit of $1,500 or more. And so that would be our solution. Okay? Look at the next one. This one's a little bit trickier. We're trying to find how many toppings he can order. So for our unknown here, it would again be the number of toppings. Okay. Nicholas has $13 to order. So if he only has $13, that means whatever the cost of the pizza is has to be less than or equal to 13. It says the pizza costs $7.50 plus $1.25 per topping. So that should be pretty easy and clear. $7.50 plus $1.25 times X. But here's a little bit trick. He plans to tip 15% of the total cost. And there's a typo there. 15% of the total cost. So this is a little bit trickier. We could just multiply all of this by 15%, but that would only give us the tip amount. I want to know the total cost with the tip. So we would actually multiply by 115% or 1.15. And so that's what our inequality would look like. I want you to see if you can go through now and solve that inequality, and you're probably going to have to round your numbers just a little bit. So pause your video and solve that problem. On number 3, write an inequality that can be used to determine the number of reduced price concert tickets you would need for the total cost to be less expensive than the same number of regular tickets. Okay, so X is going to be the number of tickets. X is going to be the number of tickets. It says that if you pay a one-time fee of $30, you can buy tickets for a music concert at a reduced price of $17. So reduced price tickets are going to be $30 plus 17 times X. And we want to know when that's going to be less expensive than buying regular tickets. And regular tickets are 25 times X. Okay, it would be a basic two-step equation. So I'd like you to go through and solve that now, and write your solution in a sentence. Okay, in the next problems, we're now going to write a linear inequality. So this means that we're going to use 2 variables instead of just 1. So it's going to be a little bit different. Okay. Read the problem to yourself. Okay, so this might seem a little bit tricky. This column is showing the cost of all the items that we're going to buy. We know we can get a discount if our purchase is over $200. So we want to know when all of this total cost is greater than $200. Basically, all we have to do is add everything up and write an equation. So if you'll take a minute and add your numbers up, that would be X plus Y plus 144.93. Check my math, make sure I did it right. But we wouldn't want to leave our inequality like that. That's not really in a form that we're used to. We can get this in standard form simply by moving our 144.93 over to the other side. Okay, so it would be X plus Y is greater than 5507. And that's it. That's all we have to do with this. We're just looking at writing an inequality. X is the cost of the shirt. Y is the cost of the shoes. Okay, so then the last thing we also have to be able to do is write an inequality from a graph. Now the shading didn't copy very well, so this is where the graph should be shaded. Remember to write an inequality or an equation from a graph. We need to know the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so let's start with that. Our y-intercept right here is -2. Our slope, here's 2 exact points. We can use a right triangle to find our slope. This is a positive slope. I'm going up 1, right 2. And so our slope is 1/2. So we have 1/2 x minus 2. It's not an equation, okay? So now let's look at our line. We've got a dotted line. So that tells us it's not equal to. and then we're shaded above the line. So above the line would be greater than. So we're going to have to look at our shading, look at the type of line to help us determine what inequality symbol. Okay, please make sure now that you're at the end that you show me your completed notes and that you ask any questions that you have.